Fun fact, it's time for.
Joy. Are you not gonna do that?
Baby, 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 baby.
Joy.
Here we go. Number 3.
Number 3. Blem. I'm very excited.
Is it one of my picks or your picks?
It's one of my picks again. Notting Hill.
Oh, cool. Wait, it's time. It's a perfect thing because we're going to the fall
We're
season.
going into the fall season. This is kind of a fall movie.
Yeah, it's a perfect Sunday evening
Yeah.
movie too.
Yeah,
We watched it years ago. I don't remember. I know. I'm just a boy.
Fact, Andrew told me when we first started dating that he wasn't a fan of Julia Roberts, and that was almost a deal breaker. Notting Hill. You said whoopsie daisies.
I'm just a boy standing here in front of a girl, looking at you in the mirror.
No, that is not. No.
Go.
Happiness isn't happiness without a violin playing goat.
I like
the
that.
Best line in movie cinema history in the 90s ever. Anyway, thoughts.
Well, everyone, please keep in mind, I just finished this movie. Just finished it.
This is the second time we've watched this.
Yeah, I don't have any memory of watching it before.
You don't?
I don't remember. I know we did watching it, but I don't remember. Here's my thoughts of this movie. I really, really liked it a lot. A whole lot. Like, I was surprised how much I was going to like it. And I'm having conflicted thoughts about how I feel about, again, please forgive me. We just watched this about the characters and even like I'm a very empathetic person about where people come from and what they do and how they are and how they react. And I liked how it ended with the happy ending thing, but I actually would have been okay if it just was like almost like it ended with she went off her own way and then he did too.
That's oh gosh, that's such a great perspective.
Because I almost got mad at her a lot of times in that movie. I
Yes.
admit, I did. I got
Okay.
mad. I know
okay.
she comes from her spot, empathy, him too, but about where she comes from, but like how, like I was like,
The
all right, calm
difference-
down, like a little bit.
No, okay. The difference is that her whole life has been based on like how the whole world views her.
Yes.
And he's just coming into this. He has his little, his family, his normalcy, his things, and like everything is like. What I love about this movie is that they welcome her
Yes.
into that normalcy, into that like God, the
They totally.
whole story arc of the girl who is his best friend,
Right.
who he was literally in love with, and he married his other best friend,
yeah.
and she became bound to a wheelchair, and then they couldn't have kids, and
Right.
it was this whole thing. And the fact that they welcomed her into that, and she wasn't like, she accepted it and was like, this is real life, this is what this whole thing is. And I think that's the whole point of this movie, is that she is trying so hard to just be part of a normal tragedy.
Right,
Does
right.
that make
I
sense?
could-
Because all of our lives are a little bit tragic.
Yeah.
And when you put it like on screen and like you put it like on this like big thing of like, Julia Roberts, like she's the thing, which I'm sure like this was very like
Yeah.
surreal for her. Both her and
Right,
Hugh Grant,
right.
who like we all know Hugh Grant's story.
No,
like I mean,
I have-
who,
go
I
ahead.
do love him and
No, I agree completely. I don't hate anybody. I'm not hating on her character at one bit. My only point was, I think sometimes in the movie I was kind of like, I come across as a person who tries to see everyone's side of things like very much, and his side was so like supportive of her, but she was kind of like. It wasn't his fault, and she was kind of yelling at him when the paparazzi. I know where her world's at. I'm not
But she had
denying.
never experienced that type of love before.
I'm not denying that.
No,
I'm-
I agree with you.
I just.
I get mad at her too.
Yeah, yeah.
Just know this. I
Right.
get mad at her too.
And she had a boyfriend the whole time. And I agree. I'm
She
not
did,
saying
but
she
he was
wasn't-
also a jerk who
Right, right.
like made her anorexic. So
Right. She,
it's
all bad.
like,
all agree with that
All of it.
completely. I just think he was such his side, the British side people were so sweet
Yes.
that sometimes it almost was like I'm always like, oh, they make Americans look like this, kind of like this. I'm like, man, she's
Yeah.
has that American but she was a great person, but she had to find it. But
She didn't feel like she deserved it.
right, you're right.
That was the whole thing.
There you go. And I 100%. That's it. What it is. But at the same time, kind of like getting there was like
Yeah.
they're so patient with her. She's like, it's like sometimes there was a little bit of a roadblock.
This
to it.
was late 90s too, where like 500 Days of Summer came out later, where it's like they don't end up together.
Right,
Spoiler alert.
right.
They don't get to end up together, and a lot of people were mad about that. But I feel like this could have gone that way.
Yes,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. I kind of
Either way.
would have been.
And it still would have been brilliant.
Yeah, exactly. I think you're right. 90s movie have to make it like, and it's
90s
okay.
was
Right.
let's make it all end happy.
Yeah, yeah.
But also the bench and the scene of like them laying on the bench. Okay, the scene.
Yeah, that was
we
cool.
have a picture of us. I wasn't pregnant because that's a whole different story. But like there's a picture of us in Maine on a bench,
yeah.
and that's what I was doing. I don't know that you knew that's what I was doing.
Oh yeah, I do.
But I was
remember that.
totally embracing
Yeah.
Notting Hill.
But I was getting tired of getting it, but I really
Just tired.
liked it. I was like, it's almost like movies are great when you have a conflict. You're like,
Yes.
oh, what's going on?
I
here?
agree. I'm still like, oh my god, girl, like just get it together. He loves you. He's not a jerk. He's not these things. But also, I understand, like not trusting that and not feeling like you deserve that, or not feeling that, he's being sincere. I get that. But then also Spike,
Yeah.
who you would think would be a jerk, but he wasn't. He was just himself, and it's just who he
Right.
is. But the whole point is happiness is a happiness without a violin playing goat. They had the same picture.
Right. They had the same picture.
Did you catch that?
I did.
Okay.
My true love.
She had the original. What?
Fancy.
I'm your true love? Fancy, yes.